reminds me of the latest honour that has come the way of myself, Mr. Phil Beer and Miranda Sykes. Plymouth University, in its wisdom, decided to award all three of us honorary doctorates in music. You're looking at Dr. No. Dr. Beer. So I've been trying to deploy my newfound status. I tried to get upgraded in a hotel in Derby. Didn't work, got downgraded instead. I'm yet to, I haven't flown yet since I've been a doctor, so I'll give it a go, any chance to it. But what if someone's ill back in sing them a song. My wife's a GP, she was really pissed off. How long did you study for then, she said. I can remember talking to this about 5 years ago. I was in a small festival, chatting to this guy, interesting guy. There was music going on inside. I think a band called the Magic Numbers was playing. It was heaving. Chatting to this guy, and I said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm a doctor." I said, "Okay, very interesting." And then the inevitable announcement came. Someone has lost consciousness, is there a doctor? And he was chatting to me, and I was watching him. I was thinking, "Are you going to go and do something?" He said, "No." He said, "I'm a doctor of philosophy." He said, "I could ask them what they meant by consciousness, but nothing useful." So that's me and Dr. Beer. Dr. Beer, sounds like a blues. Dr. Beer, Dr. Whiskey. Dr. Booze. So anyway, thank you, Plymouth University, that was great. And that's where, obviously, Drake stood. That's where his drum is supposed to beat in times of national trial. And Drake will return, probably to play in the front row for England. This, not a ukulele, although well done the ukulele for rescuing many a music shop over the last 10 years. They've been so popular. But this is a South American instrument that has a similar property. It's got the re-entrant string out of sequence, but it's a richer sound. And Phil and I, we played music for a while with 3 Chilean exiles in the early 90s. We formed an Anglo-Chilean group that toured on and off for a couple of years, and we got to know and love this instrument. And so David took one of theirs and fashioned this Exeter-made one. This piece of wood here is a piece of cherry. It's designed to protect the instrument from fingernails. Because what the Chilean guys do is they build up their nails with tissue paper and super glue and then file them into talons, and they play like that. And as you stand next to them, there's bits of wooden nail flying. It's quite spectacular. I can do like an approximation of the sort of style they play. And at this point, I realised people were enjoying this more than my drill. So I wanted to write a song that had that sort of percussive Latin. And I came up with this one called A Tall Ship Story, and it's based on a maritime myth. So you have to imagine that all these sailors are boasting. You know that story of that guy, like, "Oh, that was me, that was." And it's not ever happened to any of them but one. And the story in question is that they put into this this Far Eastern port in the days of sail, and a carriage comes to the harbour side, and a wealthy and elderly merchant gets out with a beautiful bride, young bride, and he chooses a young sailor to go back with them for their first married night. And it's only ever happened to one of them. And so he's condemned in exchange for one night of pleasure to be known as a liar for the rest of his life. So that was the deal. So you have to imagine now you're in some dockside pub, and some wizened old sailor with long fair hair and a beard, I expect, and probably plays the fiddle. And he's asking you to join him and to hear his tale. Tall Ship Story. And now you find me drinking by the harbour. If you have an hour until you set sail, join an old sea dog, sit here in the corner. Gather round, boys, and hear my tale. We were homeward bound from the far softly whispered, young man, for just one night she's yours. My shipmates stretched their eyes in wonder as I climbed in the carriage and we rode away. Last one night in sweetest rapture, and I didn't return till the break of day. Stories told of wind and rock, haunted ships that never made dock, 1,000 tales in the deep and the stormy brine. But this one, me. We stood by the sea as the dawn was lifting. Such sadness in this old man's grey eye. He called me close and said, now leave us, but go tell the whole world about old Shanghai. On every ship, some loudmouth sailor, he says it happened to him, what happened to you? But for one young man in all these oceans, well, I've just made that fiction true, but you're being known as a liar by all your crew. Stories told of wind and rock, haunted ships that never met.